This is Vintage Radio, the grown-up choice.
Yes, and it's just gone 9 o'clock on a Friday. It's the Paranormal Hour, when we talk about everything and anything paranormal or otherwise with Kevin. So good morning, Kevin.
Morning. You okay?
I'm not too bad today.
Good. Yeah, another thing, it's National Down Syndrome Awareness Day today. Remember I mentioned it last week?
Yeah, so funny enough, I was listening on the radio coming in. There was a woman and she had Down syndrome twin girls.
Yeah.
And it's really unusual.
12 twins.
Yeah. And she said when it was first diagnosed in early pregnancy, they asked if she wanted to, not have them. And she said no. She said, I wonder when she said, you know what, she says, they brighten my life every day. She said, they are absolutely wonderful.
It's wrong, that, isn't it? You give somebody an option just because of a disability, do you know what I mean?
Well, I suppose if they can't handle it. Some people can't handle things like that.
Yeah.
I'll be quite honest. On one of my books, that I still haven't finished it yet, the heroine has a lisp. And everyone sort of rejects her, they rebuff her because she has this lisp. And I think a lisp in a girl is quite sexy, That's why I wrote it in. But some people, even silly things like that, a lisp or a turn in the eye and things like that, and they sort of, no. So, that's just there are people. But some of these Down syndrome kids, all you ever get out of them is smiles.
Yeah.
And they're lovely. We see some of them in town, and they're lovely little kids.
It's wrong, like, I suffer from OCD. I've got it quite severe. I take medication for it. But imagine somebody saying, oh, your child's going to have a mental illness. You sure you want to carry on? It's the same, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous how they can...
Well, my younger brother, he was severely disabled.
Yeah.
And, he was born with a twisted spine. He had water on the brain. And, he was epileptic. Do you know, he never had an enemy in the world.
Yeah.
Well, people loved him. Everyone knew him.
Yeah.
All right. He used to have a scooter thing, a trolley thing that went. And off he'd go when we lived in town, and we get a phone call from the police. And they'd say, we found him, he's up in Bidston. And we're bringing him back. He used to like to get a ride in a police car back. He used to go in the old market. And boy, he could sing. He was so talented. And he used to stand by the record shop. And because what they used to do then, they used to have a blackboard and they were marked on the charts, and he'd stand there and he'd be playing all the hit records, and he was singing along with them there, and he'd come home and his pants were almost around his ankles, his pockets were full of pennies. Yeah, he was never short of a few bob. And of course, mentally handicapped, it didn't stop him.
No.
But sadly, he passed away when he was 15.
15?
Yeah. Had an epileptic fit, and he never came out of it. And we still miss him. But even Joan, my wife, she used to play in the playground, the local playground there, on the swings and she knew. When she first came into our house and she saw a picture of him on the wall, yeah, I know him. I always teased her. I said, that was your first boyfriend, wasn't it? Of course, they were the same age. But, let's say, handicaps should not be a handicap, shall we say.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not brave enough. It always takes a serious downturn sometimes, and you're like, oh, well, that was awkward. Yeah, but as I say, it's Ostra today.
Yeah.
So if you go onto I keep telling people to go onto the Facebook page, because that's where I put a lot of the stuff on. And there's recipes for it, there's traditional rituals and that. And it all starts today, but there's so many famous sayings, like, as mad as a March here, that comes from the spring equinox, where it says it's a time for fertility and sowing seeds, is what the thing is. But it's as mad as a March here, because that's when they're in season. So if an heirs wants to mate with a female and he gets rebuffed and she doesn't want to, he goes hopping round. And that's, you wouldn't realise that's what it says. It says, and bounce around erratically when discouraged. So that's where as mad as a March there comes from. But funny enough, after the show last week, I got an email off another lady, like her husband, and they want us to go to this house, but it seems severely active. Do you know what I mean? So I put onto our page, because we're on the page, there's that many different groups that do psychics and mediums, and I met up with a medium, and I've always said you've got to be dubious, but she was awful. No, she claimed to be a medium. I knew more about it than what she knew about me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking to try and take somebody, well, a medium with us, just to give us a bit of a clue how far it goes back and what's going on. So I put it on and said, listen, anyone interested, give us an email and we'll arrange a meet-up. So I met up with her in Central Library. And she's just a charlatan, do you know what I mean? And she charges as well, which she never charged me. But she does tarot readings and stuff, and she said, oh yeah, if it goes okay, you can put us on your page. And I said, oh yeah, fine. So I met up with her, and she was just a complete fake. It's a shame though, isn't it?
Yeah.
How many people must go to her for answers?
Yeah. And yet, in the spiritualist churches, you know, some of them are also... I've never been disappointed yet. When I've been picked, I've never been disappointed yet, you know. I'm just amazed that... but some people think they're frightened to go. They think there's going to be ghosts flying all over the place.
Seen that a Ghostbusters.
You don't realise it's a... You see a lot of people newly bereaved,
yeah,
and they go, and some of the messages that they get, you know, and you can see the relief on the face when they've something they didn't understand, you know, and they come through, but these mediums don't know the
person from Adam,
the congregation whatsoever.
See, we were saying there's a famous one who's on tour, and at the bottom of the advertisement it says this so and so is an investigational show and for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
Now, there is genuine psychics and mediums, but especially the famous ones who make the money.
Yeah.
Why do you need to investigate people in your audience to get stories if you are what you say you are?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What was his name? Was it John Holmes? An American one. He looked a bit like Michael Schumacher.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen him. The medium. And he's been pretty good, but what he does with his show, he goes in and he just says to them, now, I've never met any of you before, you know, I don't know anything about you. And he said, so we just play it by ear. And then he'll mention something, and somebody will say, yeah, I did, and he'll go into it and everything. But then he does a follow-up. You know, if he says, Mary, and they say, no, I don't know a Mary. Well, when you get home, ask your mum, because, you know. But they do a follow-up on it then. Yeah. And they say, oh, yeah, she was my mum's best mate in school, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so they do all this, and he said, yeah, okay, you know, this guy is pretty good. You know, so, but unless you get a follow-up, and what they do sometimes, they'll say, if they say something, say, no, that doesn't ring any bells, and they'll say, well, you know, check it, just check it, and let us know. And they, in the spirit says, they then actually, they want to know the follow-up.
Yeah. Because
it's only right, if they're giving you some information, you think, no, it doesn't ring a bell with me. I said, but it does, you know, you will.
It's there's so many different ways, like there's Darren Brown done a show on it, and there's another, I can't remember who it was, the famous medium, because I can't say it if I don't like the fella's name, and they done this big one at the end, and it worked out that the woman's house that he was in, his sister lived next door. Do you know what I mean? They found out that after the show, but what the thing that makes me laugh about these, especially TV mediums, they're always like bleach or dyed hair, bleach blonde dyed hair, fake tan, big white teeth. Do you know what I mean? Like something from the 80s, but I've only ever met 2 really good psychics, do you know, and it's normally the ones that they're not so much don't charge, they'll say, oh, well, give us our expenses, or, do you know what I mean? I don't charge for what I do. If someone wants us to go to the house and have a look, I'll investigate it, and then we'll go. I don't say that's £300, please. I just, whatever it costs in expenses. Do you know what I mean? And yet you get these ones who charge
hundreds of pounds
for them to tell you what you already know.
But the funny thing is, I'll say it's funny, Have you ever had the feeling that you've got to do something?
Yeah.
Now this happened to me. The first time I said to my wife, we've got to go to the Spiritualist church. We've got to go. She hadn't been before, but she came and we sat at the back and I said, I'll get a message in a minute. Oh yeah, you know. I hadn't been for 20 odd years, 30 years, you know. And sure enough, the medium, halfway through his session, he says, that gentleman at the back there, there's a message for you, but you'll have to come back next week because I haven't got time to do it today. They're asking you to come back next week. So we did, and we moved to a different place in the different seating. It was a different medium. It was a blind chap. And he's doing his thing, and then he suddenly mentions my gran. Two of us, there was two people who said they could connect with Sarah. And as soon as I spoke, he said, no, it's you. He tore into me, he didn't want to do it at first. He said, she's so forceful. She told me things, well, as you know, my position here at Vintage Radio, you've got to be forceful. She said, be forceful, you can do something with yourself. She said, and get your eyes tested, because you're going to need glasses. I didn't wear glasses at the time. Within literally days, I suddenly realised how bad my eyesight was. So that worked from that way. But there was another time when I said to my wife, we've got to go to the Spiritualist church. There's a message for me. We didn't go. I wish I had. I wish I had. The message was change the birth dates. I know what it means. Well, let's put it this way. If I had done, I'd have been rather wealthy now. But I didn't. I didn't get the message. But you get this feeling you've got, you can't explain it. But it was only later when I actually met another medium, and she said, oh, why didn't you do what you were told? And I thought, what are you on about? Weren't you told to go and get a message? And she told me all about it. She said, you could have been quite wealthy now. She said, they were going to help you. And it was 2 birth dates. I had 2 lines on the lottery.
Yeah.
And if I'd have had the other line, if I had the number on one line on the other line, I'd have been rather well off now. But I didn't, because nobody told me.
It's weird when you get that feeling, though, isn't it? When you've got to do something, do you know what I mean? Because my brother, I've got 2 brothers. One of them's he's quite high up in the fire service for Merseyside. He's one of the head bosses, like, and he's not skeptic, but he's open minded. Do you know what I mean? Like yourself, and he went to he said, I wasn't going to tell you. This was going back a couple of years back. He went to a medium who said that knew all about me for some reason, and said he's going to help someone in a way that it'll change that person's life. But then is not like it's going to end. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it was similar to that. So I was a bit worried about that. But he phoned me on Wednesday and he goes, because my dad's just been taken to hospital on Tuesday with his heart. He's still in. He's in the Royal and that's still in. But he said, listen, I wasn't going to tell you. He said, I went to see a tarot reader. He said she was a lovely woman. He said I was with her for a couple of hours. He said she was mentioning about you. I was like, oh, what have I done now? And no, she was just saying the work I'm doing is being noted, basically. And I've every time we've met a psychic, I've been told I'm a sensor, which means I can open up and become a psychic. But I don't want to open up. Do you know what I mean? I don't fancy doing that. But she was saying your younger brother, me, has got the ability to. And I said, I'll be completely honest. I said there is times when I've seen stuff which makes you more susceptible anyway. The medium said that's why if we're somewhere I'll tend to hear or see, because I am very, very open, do you know what I mean? But I haven't opened myself up completely. And it was weird. because after I got told that, I went down to the next day, to St James's.
Yeah.
But just with a friend, and I always like to go down, just taking pictures and pictures, and caught this picture, and I'll show you in a minute, just so you know. And you've got like the grey stones either side, and a row in the middle. And round that part where I was taking the pictures, when we went down with our medium last year, he was speaking to a young girl. He said, there's a girl in a red dress. He said he was looking for a father. I said, well, can you be a bit more specific, like? But he said she's looking for a dad. And obviously in St James's, the gravestones aren't where they used to be. They're only there for like ornamental purposes, really. And so we went over there. I was taking pictures, and I've managed to capture half of it. It's like a man's shoulder, but there was no one in front of the camera. So I was messing around, seeing if it was me mate. But obviously, if you take it with the flash, it'll pick up the colour of your jacket or whatever. But it's like the shadow of his shoulder, and it's at that part where he said, "But I'm going to go back down Sunday, because when something happens like that, I'm curious then to find out who or what it is, and I'll show you the picture. It's on our page as well, our Facebook page, but it's like the outline of it's like a shadow of a shoulder, and people are putting on like, oh, wasn't you scared? I said no. Yeah. And we got a woman yesterday, and she said, could you take a look at these orbs for me? So I said, yeah, email them over. I said, well, have a look. And she never emailed them. She said, I'm a bit worried. She said, what it was, when you were saying a while back about you speaking to your sister and the orbs were flying, orb was behind her. She said, we were on the Xbox, and the Kinect, it where like it picks up the people. She said, and these orbs all floating around my hair. She said, we're quite worried about it. I said, what are you worried for? I said, count yourself lucky. I said, I've never encountered any story of where orbs flying around someone's a sign of impending doom. Do you know what I mean?
Let's say they're looking after them.
Well, that's what I said to her. I said, if you have a look on our Facebook, she said, thanks very much for setting like my mind at rest. I said, no, it's nothing to worry about. Yeah. I said, it could be your guardian angel. I said, obviously you've got more than one. Yeah. I said, it could be anyone, people passing by. I said, but they don't need to be scared. I said, if it happens again, count yourself lucky, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to worry about.
You know, people laugh about guardian angels. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for guardian angels.
Yeah. Well, that's I've never, where you've had the feeling, haven't you, that you've got yours. I mean, I don't know if you can see that scar on my arm. Yeah. And when I was, I think I was 3, I got electrocuted on a lecky fire downstairs, and I think it was 4 minutes I'd been declared, well, I'd died for. And the neighbour and my dad brought me back to life. Now, I don't know if that's got anything to do with how I can see things, but when you get electrocuted, it's got to come out of somewhere. Yeah. And for me, it came out on my arm and my 2 fingers. Whereas the nurse said, like, it's lucky because a lot of people, it can come out on the chest or on the top of the head. And if it comes out on the top of your head, obviously, it'll kill you, or around about by your heart. But there's times I've sat there and I've asked to be shown me guardian, and I've never seen nothing, but maybe I don't need it at the minute.
But sometimes guardian angels, you don't realise you've got them. Like, I've got a scar there, you can imagine the vein. Yeah. I fell on a house brick and the blood was gushing out. I was only young. The blood was gushing out, and you still can't explain from this day, but our next door neighbour, she had a son. We'd never met him actually, because he was always away. And he heard the fuss, what's going on, and he came out. He was a student doctor. He hadn't been home for, well, we'd been there about 2 years, never seen him. And he just happened to be visiting his mum and dad that weekend. And he heard the fuss and everything. Anyway, he tourniqueted it, and he actually stitched it up with needle and cotton. Saved my life. There's the scar there. Still got it. So, was it coincidence?
Fate.
Or what made him come out at that time and see me? You know,
it's just little strange things. There's a story that got reported over at our way. I think it was on Scotland Road, and there was a woman, and this was going back to 1800, and apparently it was really heavy snow. Yeah. And she was walking through the street going home, and she stumbled and fell. Now, back then it's a lot worse weather than what we've got now for some reason, hasn't it? The climate's completely changed. But she was in the snow and obviously couldn't get back up, and temperature was dropping. And next thing, a gentleman come along, and he was a doctor. And he helped her, and she said, how did you find me? This was afterwards. He said, your son told me. And she got like quite upset that she said, I haven't got a son. He said, I got a knock on my door. He said, whoever, like your secretary or me maid answered it. And it was a little boy. She said, I haven't got a son. He said, he had a red scarf on. And she started crying. She said, what? And he described how he looked. 2 years earlier, she'd lost a son. And the red scarf was his favourite scarf. But he described their son, how he was the day he died. And he got buried in that red scarf. And he said, he knocked on my door and said, will you help me, my mum? She was on the floor, passed out with the cold, and obviously he saved her life, but...
That's amazing. There's just so much that we don't understand. But a lot of people just fob it off. You shouldn't.
It's closed-minded. Yeah. I've said, if you believe in God, then you've got to believe in spirit world.
There's definitely something there.
Definitely.
But it's just getting that one piece of concrete evidence that's always eluding, isn't it? It's always one step ahead.
That's it. That's what people say. It's a load of lies or whatever. I'll say, well, you prove to me it's lies, and I'll try and prove to you it's not. It's
like some people say, well, what used to get me, I used to be a bit of I'm going to say an anarchist, but people would say, now, if you behave yourself all your life, you'll go to heaven. So you say, okay, so, if I don't drink, don't smoke, don't swear, don't do anything else, I'll be, really good, I'm going to go to heaven. What's it like? Have you been? Show us a picture. What have I got to... Well, I don't... You're trying to sell me something that you don't know anything about, you haven't got,
And 9 times out of 10, the people who are trying to preach you don't practice it themselves. You know what I mean?
Well, you hear about that all the time when they tell you.
Don't do this, don't do that.
The worst thing is. Well, I don't know whether they're lucky or what, but some of these preachers in Midwest America, and the first pretty girl that joins the congregation, that's it. He's got his eye on her. Doesn't matter whether he's married or not. She's ticking the boxes.
It's wrong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Over our way, I don't know if you've seen this. We've got a spiritualist church just off Islington, and a couple of years back there was a fellow who actually got done because he was claiming to be a psychic medium, and I think it was young girls and young lads. I'm not 200% on the story, but he went to jail for it. What he was doing was touching them inappropriately, saying while he was giving the reading. Do you know what I mean? Now that's playing on people's...
It is, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's playing on people's fears, isn't it? Really.
But some of them, they'll put all their faith in one person. If you tell them to put your hand in the fire, they'll do it. There's
no way you should do that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If someone swears it's gospel, do you know what I mean? You've still got to need to make your own mind up.
I mean, I know they talk about faith. Okay, yeah, maybe there is a heaven. But you won't know till you get there. And it's like these martyrs with 95 virgins. Where are they going to get 95 virgins from?
Especially in Liverpool.
I mean, I'm not being flippant about it, but how do you know there's 95 virgins?
No one's ever said. No one's ever been up and said, "Oh, they're waiting for you." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's faith, I suppose, and there's nothing wrong with faith. I mean, I believe, but I believe in my way, and what I don't believe in is when somebody tries to sell me this thing, and you say, "Well, okay, tell me more about it." Oh, it's beautiful pastures and blue skies. Have you been there? No. How would you know?
Everyone, that's the difference between us is we've got free will. Do you know what I mean? So we can make our own mind up. But if someone's telling you this, probably 9 times out of 10 they don't believe it themselves. Do you know what I mean? It's just, especially you'll find the preachers as well. Have you seen them standing around and the end is nigh and
How does he know?
How do you know?
Well, let's put it this
No
way.
one knows.
If the end was nigh, he wouldn't be standing there. He'd be looking for the bunker, wouldn't he?
That's it. You know what makes me laugh is they'll stand around and they'll preach, and they've done it like when Liverpool had gay pride. They were down there saying gays are evil. You tell me why gays are evil. Do you know what I mean? And they go, I said, well,
Because he's not one.
because I mean, I'm speaking from like my point of view, because as a gay man, I find it really disrespectful when you go down and they're telling you you're evil and you're sinful and going to hell. And you're like, hang on a minute, surely love is love is the same whether it's
Yeah. Exactly.
heterosexual or homosexual. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
do they say that lesbians are evil?
yeah.
No, they don't
Oh,
say
no, that's
lesbians are
gays,
evil.
yeah.
Only gays. Why should gays be any different than lesbians?
See, I'm quite rude in a way when it comes to things like that, because if there's a lot of people who won't say something, and if I'm walking past and it upset, I'll say to them, what's your problem, mate? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They expect to get shouted at and barracked at. But if you go over and sensibly and say to them, well, you explain to me why gays are evil. Do you know what I mean? They
I mean,
can't.
it's not like they wear a big sign, I am gay.
No.
I mean, you were this 4 or 5 weeks before you even told me you were gay. I never knew you were gay. You're just a guy, a nice guy, you know.
Thanks.
Yeah, pleasant. We have a conversation. It doesn't bother. It doesn't bother me.
That's
Yeah,
it. A lot of people, especially religious groups as well, when you see them, it's all about that. And you think there's enough hatred and negativity in the world that'll make them more, do you know what I mean?
I say some of them are crazy. But when you look at them, really, they go out and they say, oh, you know, gays are bad and everything. But I suppose if you look deeply into their lives, you probably find they're a lot worse.
Yeah, that's right.
So they've got this grievance that your life is better than theirs. So they knock your life.
They knock your life, but
So,
and they say that they're living by the rules of God and what's been told to them. They're not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No. Anyway, it's coming up to 9:30, and I keep looking over my shoulder because I got a feeling that a certain Mr. Grant's will come bounding in. Anyway, we'll have a little bit of music now, and I might even grab a cuppa while this is on. The Kinks, You Really Got Me.
You really got me going. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me. Don't ever set me free. I always wanna be by your side. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me. See, don't ever set me free. I always wanna be by your side. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me.
Vintage Radio.
Yes, it's Vintage Radio. It's just gone 9:30, and you're listening to The Breakfast Show with me, Jan Kubicek, and Kevin Hale. And, well, I was just halfway through making a cup of coffee then. And you don't want a cup of coffee?
No, what I
No,
think.
no. Oh, well, easy pleased, isn't he?
Got a weak bladder.
Right, so while I just nip and make a cup of coffee, I'll leave you in the capable hands of Kevin.
Thanks. Nervous from my own. Yeah, what are the witches we were speaking about in the past? What you got to realise about pagans is that they're not sexual deviants or they don't worship the devil. They're not evil. They don't practice black magic, and the practices don't involve harming humans or animals. But there's a lot of misconceptions about, especially pagans and Wiccans as well, that it's all linked back to like black magic witchcraft when it's not. It's predates Christianity, so it's around about the same ballpark, and it's just a celebration, especially today. You're celebrating the spring equinox, so it's everything that's new. Do you know what I mean? It's new foods and lamb in season and new flowers growing. Do you know what I mean? It's all tied into the one ball.
Well, I know the 21st is the equinox, but I always thought the clocks go backwards or forwards today as well.
I did as well.
Why do they leave it till the weekend?
I think because that's to do with the war, isn't it? It's carried on from the war, hasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's where the daylight saving time come from, was to give the troops, I think, extra hour daylight. Yeah. And it's just stayed since the war, yeah. It's nothing to do with like anything religious or nothing, it's just become part of our heritage, you know what I mean? But I'd love to go to, we were saying last week about Stonehenge.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll all be down there today. And
oh, yeah.
it'll be fantastic, wouldn't it, to go and to witness it, because...
Yeah. I mean, apparently you can get to touch the stones, but you have to book it as a party, you know, you can't just go. But we were disappointed because we were like 50 yards away from the stones, and it's quite a bit of a walk around as well, because it's all fenced off, and you walk around them and you're looking at them, and you might as well be walking around Woolies store in Liverpool 1 or something, you know. You want to, when you go there, they say that there's power in these stones, there's some sort of force. You want to be able to touch the stones.
And make your own mind up, yeah.
And say, well, I've actually touched the stones. I mean, it's like, I was in Krakow, and there's a building there where Pope John Paul II, he lived as a student quarters. And when he went back, visited Poland, he went back to this building, and he stood on this big flagstone on the main entrance and spoke to the students just like one of them, you know. Just chatted with them. And there he was, you know, the Holy Father, talking to students like he was just one of them, and how you getting on and all this and that. But he stood there, and some people thought it was strange, because I'm not a Catholic. My family are in Poland. My dad was a Catholic. But I had this I was drawn towards John Paul for some reason. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And there's a guard now who stands by the door, guarding this flagstone.
Yeah.
Because obviously Pope John Paul has been made a saint.
Yeah.
And that flagstone, to some people, would be priceless.
It's like a
So they
pilgrimage
guard
to
it.
go over, yeah.
And I went over and I said, can I touch the flagstone? And he sort of gave me a strange look. I said, I just want to put my hands on that. I want to touch where the Holy Father stood. And yeah, okay. And people must have thought I was strange, just going and just put my hands on it and say, you know, I've touched where the Holy Father stood.
Yeah.
And I just felt this great sense of well-being. It was weird. It really was. And from then on, because going to although I was going to meet my brother and sister for the first time and the family, there's a bit of apprehension.
Yeah.
And I'm meeting cousins and people I never even knew, you know, and I'm being greeted, hugs and everyone, and you know, you're the long lost relative sort of thing. And even Joan, I mean, they love her. She's absolutely brilliant, you know. But then you feel I belong.
Yeah.
After that, you know, you're relaxed, and I know that I'm in the company of family, and you can't get any better feeling than that.
Yeah.
And all that when I touch this stone. I know it sounds crazy, but
No, it's what you
yeah.
what you get from it. You know what I
So
mean?
if people are telling you, it's like it's trying to sell you heaven. If people are telling you that the Stonehenge, the stones have got this power that you can feel when you touch them,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a letdown when they won't let you
You
touch
won't
them.
let you touch 'em. That's it. What? Especially you're getting dragged all the way down to walk around it. Do you know what I mean? I'd be just too tempted to jump over and touch it. Do you know what I mean? Because who were they to tell you? They were never built to be a tourist attraction. Do you know what I mean?
No. But the trouble is, you've always got the village idiots spraying graffiti
Yeah.
on the stones and trying to chip pieces off, which has been done in the past. So they've got to look after them. But surely half a dozen stewards. I mean, you pay enough to
Yeah.
park. You have to park over the road, and there's a tunnel now under the road, so because it's quite a busy road there. So you've got to park you've got to pay to park. Then you've got to pay to go through the tunnel.
And you're
To them.
the centre as well.
And it's all fenced off, so you can't just walk across the road because it's all sort of fenced off now, so to get near it. So you think with that money, if they had stewards who were there, so that, okay, you could go to the stones, and these stewards would keep an eye on you.
Yeah.
And if they see you doing something you shouldn't be doing, you can say, go on,
Get
you
off,
bike.
yeah.
You know. Well, we do it at football, at Tranmere. Somebody misbehaves, you know, we say, you know, there's the gate, get out.
Yeah.
No ifs or buts on your bike. And if they won't go, well, we call for backup. Well, it's the same with them. Somebody says, no, I'm not going. Say, look, you're damaging these stones. Go.
That's
You know,
it. It's
two or
criminal
three
damage,
big burly stewards, you're not going to argue with them, are you? You know?
It's wrong though. Do you know what I mean? It's people make money off anything, don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I was saying before, have you ever heard of St Bartholomew's in Thurston? I'm not too familiar with Thurston, you see.
Thurston.
I can't say it with me lips.
Thurston. Yeah.
Thurston. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's meant to be haunted by a woman in white, a white lady. It always seems to be women in white, doesn't it? Or grey.
Oh, grey.
Like, have you ever seen Rising Damp, the grey lady? Things like that, do you know what I mean? But there's part of it that day from, I think it was 1350, but it goes back, I think, 1125 and even before to the Saxon times. But ever since the past couple of centuries, there's been people who've witnessed a lady in white walking through the halls. I don't know if you ever heard anything about them.
No.
Because every time I find a story about it over here, I'm like, oh, I wonder if Jan's heard of it or...
No.
Do you know what I mean? But I'd love to go to it because Thurston, I remember going when I was a kid for the rocks. To go on the rocks, and maybe I might go back and pay a visit and see if there is. Just go anywhere. With it being a church, you never know what you pick up.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Speak Hall?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be haunted,
Yeah, it's
isn't it?
very active. But the sad thing about Speak Hall is, with it being like not a hub, it's like Croxteth Park Hall as well.
Yeah.
People make stories up about it as well. It is haunted
Because it looks...
haunted.
Well, is it Hinderton Hall?
Where's that in?
It's on the main road from Hoylake to Chester, just before the traffic lights taking you down to Neston. That, again, is reputed to be haunted, and it's been on the market quite a few times. You know, people don't stay there very long. But you've only got to look at the place, and it looks the type... Hammer Films, who made the heart, they would have had a ball making movies in there. They may well have done. But it just looks... It's got a gatehouse, and there's a lovely pasture at the front. You see the sheep in there, sometimes horses and whatever. But then at the back of that, you can see that the house. I think my daughter, she went on the website. It was up for sale one time. And you know, when you look on the website, you can't afford it, but you ought to have a look anyway. And she said, well, apparently it's well haunted, as she put it. And you think that somebody would look into that, you know?
Look into it, and even we've said before, there's no shame in. If you go there, they've got as much right as you, in a way, do you know what I mean? But if you don't disturb them, if you just acknowledge them, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what makes me laugh is you'll hear these stories and it'll always be like in the most like old place or old
Why
gardens.
should it be an old place?
Why? Do you know what I mean? There could be a new supermarket just been built,
Yeah.
and it's since they've built it, it's been active. You don't know what was on that ground going back hundreds of years ago. Do you know what I mean? It always seems to be like someone will email me say I've got a story. I was in this church and it's 400 years old, and you're thinking, oh, another one, because you've got to look at them stories with a bit of disbelief. Because if someone comes and says to me, listen, I was in the new McDonald's and I seen something, it's only just been open a week, I'll go, hang on a minute, it's definitely worth looking into, because why would you lie? But when there's a lot of people who just make this because it looks haunted.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard that's haunted by this.
I did hear something. I mean, just down the road from here is Woodside, as you know, and used to have the Woodside station. It's a famous station, actually, Woodside. My wife's dad, he worked there, and that's not why it was famous. But whenever the Queen visited the area, the Royal Train would come in. Circus trains used to come in there as well, and there were quite a few casualties over the years. And it's now a bus car park, a bus car park, doesn't it? A bus park. Yeah. And people have said, especially on lates, you know, that they saw something, but they couldn't quite make out what it was. You know, I mean, a thing that more often than not happened was somebody would, because the platforms then they weren't that safe. Somebody might fall in front of a loco or be trapped between a loco and a carriage or something. You know, and they're working. You know, you didn't have health and safety the way we do now.
Yeah.
And I think there's a thing in the Williamson Art Gallery about Woodside Station. There's a book as well about it. And I was never fortunate enough to see anything down there when I was on the buses, but sometimes the lads would come in and say, I'm sure I saw a fella there and he had a black uniform and a cap, you know, the old railway cap. But I say the station hasn't been there for
a long time.
A long time. But
they don't know
spirit,
that.
It's still there.
It's still a station, that's what I mean.
And I think what it is, I might be wrong, but I should imagine if these things keep happening, imagine you do something and then you think, why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. I should have done something else. And I think sometimes the spirits are trying to correct what
you're going to be mistaken.
What they did, but they can't because they keep reliving it. Like somebody steps in front of a car or a bus,
yeah,
and they might not have wanted to do it, but they did it, and then they keep going back saying, "I didn't want."
Yeah,
I wanted to get past, but I didn't quite make it. You know.
That's what we were saying. That's called the residual energy because it's just happening over and over. Like there's a story of because suicide seemed to be a lot of repeating itself, and there was a tenement blocks in Everton, and a couple used to see the first time they seen it, they screamed like because they thought it was somebody throwing himself off the 3rd floor. Went out, there was no one there, police and everything. It happened again and again and again, and when he looked into it, someone, I think it was 25 years before, jumped off that landing. So it's like it's happening over and over and over and over again.
But it's like somebody's sitting on the window ledge cleaning the windows and they fall and they keep going back and they think, well, I should have held on with one hand, but I didn't. So they're going back and they're trying to correct the thing.
It's like, especially if it's such a high height, if you're coming backwards or you're going, your life does flash before you. So what you're led to believe, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because you know why that is? This is off QI, by the way. Do you know if you're drowning or you didn't, whatever way it is, and for that moment you're looking for a way out, your brain scans itself to see if you've been in that situation before to match it up. Yeah. And that's what, well, according to QI, that's what your brain, that's why people say my life flashed before me. It actually does, because if there's been cases where someone's been in a car underwater and they're trying to get out, and next thing they'll use the headrest to smash the window, and they'll say like the light flashed before them, but they've seen that on a TV program. Your brain looks a way for you to get out that situation. So it's not like you're seeing everything because you're going to die. It's trying to find out a way to get you out that situation.
There is a tip. I know the weather's getting a bit better, but if you were to find yourself, if you drove off the road into a lake or something, the worst thing to do is to panic, because you've got all the pressure of the water keeping the door closed. So the answer to that now, and this has been backed up professionally, is you're not going to get out because you try to open the door, the pressure of the water is stopping you. So unless you've got a sunroof that you can get out of, the best thing is to open your window a little bit, allow the water to come in. When the water reaches a certain level, then it equalises. You can then open the door and get out. But if you try to panic, the door won't open. You're using up all your oxygen. You're using up all your energy. But that's what they recommend.
Yeah.
To let the car flood so far. You've still got oxygen because you're there. Or usually it'll come in through your vents anyway. Keep the window shut. It'll come in through the vents, and that way you're keeping your oxygen. You end up in an air bubble.
Yeah.
And then you just suddenly realise, yes, oh, look, the door's open now. And out you go. But if you try to panic, no chance.
It's the panic
Not that I've tried it. But apparently that's because we have these courses at Tranmere, for the stewards and different things. And mainly it's to do with fire and evacuation and things like that, what to do in emergencies. And that one was actually brought up. That although we're not likely to have a flood there. you hear about these, what it was talking about these holes that have suddenly appeared.
Yeah.
And they said, just supposing that happened in the car park and it was flooded, a drain was burst or something, and you got this car stuck in there. What do you do? And that was the answer. So let the car flood so far.
Yeah.
And then you can open the door and get out, providing there's enough room to open the door.
It's mad, and you think of all these little things, and your brain's running away with you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But there's so many places though that they look haunted. Just because they look haunted doesn't mean they are.
I think behind you's a bit haunted. What is it?
Oh yeah, the ghost, Marley's ghost. What does this stand by? Anything could happen.
Just block the door.
Yeah. Oh dear me. And here he is. He's arrived like the spirits of Christmas past.
Yes.
Good morning, Budge.
Good morning.
Oh, how are you today?
Handsome.
See, I always worry about him because he always comes in with a big grin on his face. What have you been up to?
I can't tell you that.
He can't say. He never does.
When you're handsome and debonair and charming and witty and intelligent, I'm not all of those.
But you're working
4
on
out
it,
of
though,
5.
you're working on it, yeah. So it's downhill all the way from now.
all the way from now.
Oh dear me! I tell you what, let's have one more piece of music before we go. Listen, I love playing this one. I really do. How long can you hold your breath for, Budge?
Oh, I don't know, about 30 seconds.
But you reckon 30 seconds? If you were singing, how long could you hold a note for?
Well, I could probably hold it for quite a long time, actually.
Well, do you reckon you can hold it longer than Kathy Gerby?
Oh, I don't know.
Just listen to this, the way she holds this note. I think it's absolutely
I
awesome.
can do My Funny Valentine and hold that note right through the two phrases.
Well, I've heard a few different versions of this song, and they always cut it short on this. But just have a listen to this.
You're the one that I sighed for, the one that I even lied for, the one that I'd even die for. You're the lover that I cried for. Oh, my everything about you. My life is nothing without you. Oh,
Yeah, how about that, eh? What a fabulous voice. Bit of a Marilyn Monroe lookalike as well. Yeah,
Yeah, she was
beautiful girl.
pretty girl.
It's just sad, that she went the way she did. Well, I don't know exactly how she went, but she went early. Let's put it that way. But always brightened up the telly, even though it was all in black and white at the time.
I've never heard of him, please. I was just saying then. But,
Oh, she's done some fabulous stuff. She
Oh,
did.
You're only a boy.
yes.
Yeah,
You're not like us. In the early 50s.
she did. What was the other one she did? Doris Day did it as well.
Doris Day.
Yeah, from Secret Love.
Oh,
Secret Love. Yeah, she did a fabulous.
Oh, I had a secret code.
Yeah, she did a fabulous version of that as well. Yeah, she's done some great stuff.
The trouble with your generation is you missed all these really good
You
songs.
did.
Do you know where I can get them? It's on YouTube 9 times out of 10.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, Budge, a moment of truth. How many tickets have you sold?
No.
None.
No, told you.
Why?
Told you, I don't have any friends.
Well, you've got the book of tickets there.
And I'll give you them back.
I should hope so as well. I'm on my second book.
I don't have anybody. The only people I have that I know very well are all in show business. And they're not really interested in owning what they do, which is not what we do.
Which is not what we do, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm on to my second book now. I'm doing pretty well.
You see,
Should have been a salesman. Yeah.
once they found out that I was on, I think that's
I
been
could
the
have.
catalyst.
Well, I could have sold twice. I could have sold twice as many, but they found Budge was on. Actually, I'm looking forward to seeing his spot as well, because he's a bit of a dark horse. See, he tells us nothing.
Oh, you're very...
Yeah.
the word.
Dark horse.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
he tells us nothing.
Enigmatic. Is that the right word?
As I say, I think he's going to be pleasantly surprised when the show goes on.
I was thinking of the word shocked.
Shocked.
All right, he's going to be pleasantly shocked when the show. But do you know the good thing about it though, Budge? That all the lads, there's no egos. There's no egos, and they've all sort of gelled. They all get on
Yeah.
great. Just put a guitar in their hand or stand in front of a mic and everything. And some of them, because of the way the programs are set up, some of them have never met the other presenters. They only see a name on the schedules. When they
right.
met them, and it's like they've known them forever, sort of thing. But it's really great, and you can turn around and say, well, I don't really like that song. And they say, well, don't sing it then. Someone else will do it.
No.
And it's just, and people say, well, listen, I like this one. What do you reckon on this one? And say, well, come on, play it. I say, yeah, okay, and we'll go for that one. And what started out, they said, we might just be able to do a 15-minute slot. But we do about 3 hours, The songs just keep adding up, and people say, well, yeah, okay. And somebody said, well, I'm not comfortable with that one. I said, well, don't play it then. Take 5, sit back, let the band carry on.
Well, I was in Northwich the other day speaking, and there were 100 and odd people there. Wasn't that wonderful? Yeah. See,
And you got out alive.
nationwide, I got out alive, just about. He gave me a lift to the station.
On the end of a boot. Oh, there's a laugh a minute here, isn't there? Oh,
There's nothing like it.
no. Thank God for that.
God for that.
Well, as you can tell, Budge's our show's just nosedive now.
Well, of course, what do you want? I'm getting ready for that moment.
Yeah,
My dulcet tones.
dulcet.
Dulcet.
Remember that word? Dulcet.
Dulcet.
I'll write that down.
Crashing across the
waves.
D-U-L-C-E-T.
Dulcet.
Just as you know.
Yeah, Budge said they'll only come in on a Friday. He said they're coming on a Friday just for a laugh. Of course, it's his comedy hour as well. And it is actually, I do get to listen to some of that. I do honest. I missed the first part when I'm getting home, but
Yeah.
The best bit, yeah. But I know I do have a listen. And some of it's really. I wonder where he gets all his material from. He's not going to tell us.
You should come to my house sometime. I'll show you where I get it from. 25 million.
Yeah, 25 million what CDs with everything
I've
on.
got 350 LPs, comedy LPs, all stand up virtually. Yeah. And over 100, well over 100 tapes. Probably about 120 CDs, and then there's all the video.
Is that all from like going back?
Oh yes, yeah.
Like Ted Ray and people like that?
Yeah. I've got people you've never heard of.
I know. He used to work with Matty Lloyd.
Mary Lloyd.
You've known what he like this.
No. She was all right, was Mary. Oh, Mr. Poulter, what shall we do? I want to get...
know a bit. She always dressed as a fella, though, didn't she?
No, that was Vesta Tilly.
Vesta Tilly did, but Matty Lloyd did occasionally.
Well, I
She had
think
the old
occasionally,
top hat and tails, didn't she?
She
Vesta
wasn't
Tilly.
allowed on the very first royal command performance. They wouldn't have her on in case she scandalised the king and the queen. And she put a note on all her posters as she sent out. She put a note on the bottom saying, "Every night is a command performance for Mary Lloyd."
Yeah.
No. She had a hard life, I think. I don't think she'd very
Do you know what? The next thing we'll be doing is one of these, like the city varieties in Leeds. We'll be doing one of them shows next. Yeah. So we need somebody who says all them big long words.
Yes, indeed.
But they always had them in every show, didn't they? There was always some guy.
Well, it was always for years and years. There were always chairmen until Stoll and Moss started it in the theatre. Really, that's when they died.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's nearly 10 o'clock. So
I was there.
he was there. Yeah. And he's got the black and white posters to prove it as well. Right, so we're gonna say our goodbyes now. Hope you've enjoyed the show. I'm back again. 6 o'clock with Super 60s, and then he's turning away there. It's Super 60s, and then we're gonna have some nice easy listening out from 8 till 10. Then my week's over. Right, anyway, I'm going to leave you with a bit of Elton John, so it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from them.
Goodbye.
Right, and here's Elton John, I'm Still Standing.
You can never know what it's like. Your blood like winter freezes just like ice. And there's a cold and lonely light that shines from you. You wind up like the wreck you hide behind that mask you use. And did you think this fool could never win? Well, look at me, I'm coming back again. I got a taste of love in a simple way. And if you need to know while I'm still standing, you just fade away. Don't you know I'm still standing better than I ever did? Looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. Picking up the pieces of my life without you on my mind. I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Once I never could have hoped to win. You're starting down the road and leaving me again. The threats you made were meant to cut me down. And if my love was just a circus, you'd be a clown by now. No, I'm still standing there.